Appreciate it. Seeing none, let's move to visitors' comments. The Board of Education welcomes and encourages the participation of its citizens in the business of the school district. Thank you for your attendance. There are 2 points in meeting where visitor statements are scheduled. Citizens are welcome to ask questions or make comments at either one. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. If a person would like additional time to address the board, such request should be submitted in writing 48 hours before the meeting to the superintendent. For more details, please refer to Board Policy 2:230, public participation at the Board of Education meetings and petitions to the board. At this time, anybody want to speak on this side? Please step up. When you come up, please state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Colin Hughes, and I live at 257 North Road, Riverside. I come to the board because we recently found out the shenanigans, found out that we no longer get a spring show. And we aren't too thrilled about that, especially because that was decided in contract negotiations with a stipend negotiation. Stipend was cut by 2/3, and here go, no spring show. Now, this is, of course, understandable, as you guys have money problems, but we did just get $9 million, and we're getting a new stadium, so it doesn't seem too unreasonable to ask for a spring show. And the other thing, that you guys did this in closed session without, where students can intervene, can't talk about it.
We don't.
It's collective bargaining, it's not a public matter.
I know, and that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
There's nothing we can do about that. So, but it affects us directly. And it's not the teacher's job to advocate for our clubs. That's our job, and that's what I'm here to do now. Shenanigans is an improv and comedy sketch club. We do 2 different shows a year, and each show is performed for 2 nights in the Little Theater here. Tickets are $3 a piece for both nights, and we give all that money goes back to the school. We don't keep it, obviously. So I understand that the stipend was cut to about $2,600 for 1 semester and 2 nights of 1 show, if that makes sense. It's the same show for 2 nights in a row. And we also have a $75 pay to play that we have to pay before we can perform. So I understand if you can't bring back the spring show in this amount of time, but if that can't happen, I believe the pay to play should be dropped from $75 to $25, which is the same roughly percentage amount that you cut the stipend by. And there's got to be a little give here, because if you're taking away half of our performance, then half of the fee should go away too. If you have any other questions, feel free to find me or talk to us.
Why don't you set up some time to come and meet with me, and I can give you a little more background on this.
Okay, that'd be
If
awesome.
there's a group of students that'd like to meet with me and Ms. Matana, I can provide you a little more historical.
We'd like that.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on this side? Please. State your name. Where are you from?
I'm Richard Matthew Patton. I live at 2624 Forest View Avenue, Brookfield, Illinois. Tonight I'd like to talk about a very important issue. To start, let me use a metaphor. Imagine if our football team only got to play once. Months of hard practices, blood, sweat, and tears, all only for 1 game. Some members of the team might not even see the field and would have to wait until the following year to show what they're already capable of. That would be awful. This is how we, the Shenanigans, feel about being reduced to 1 show next year. We want to be given the chance to show what we're made of, just like any athlete, performer, or student wants. We want to be able to make relevant, smart humor that we can then share with the community. We've made a large impact on RB, and we like to keep it that way. From a student-led club to a premier comedy troupe, the Shenanigans have sold hundreds of tickets to people all across our great district. Some of those people have even referred to Shenanigans as the moral heart and soul of RB. So I ask of you, the RBHS Board of Directors, to please reinstate the Spring Shenanigans Show, because as a wise squirrel once told me, if you keep the people fighting, If you keep the people laughing, they'll keep fighting. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else on this side want to speak? Seeing none, is anybody on this side?
Sorry, can't see me.
Please state your name and where you're from.
Hi, Jake Pelka, and you want my address? 156 East Burlington, Riverside. I graduated 2 years ago, and I was on the Shenanigans. I was one of the founding members. I'm wearing one of our shirts on accident. I didn't mean to coordinate that, but it just so happened. I just came in bad entrance time, and I'm not sure what they said before me, but I know that when we founded it 6 years ago, we didn't know what we were going to find, what the response was going to be. We had one show in December. We did one night, and we sold out. And we charged $3, and we funded ourselves. We funded our next show. We got 2 performances. We sold out both of those. And we went on year after year and put on some really great shows, some really good comedy, entertained, as they both said, so many people from the district, community members and students. We had a lot of adults come because they just thought we were doing some really smart sketches and some smart improv. And I understand that from what I've been told that you're limiting them to 1 show a year, which I'm sure there's reasons for that and limitations, but you know, we use the Little Theater, and we're, I think, about the only group, maybe besides the band or the dance troupe, that uses that space, and we consistently sell it out when we have a show. Like you said, we're the, I don't know if we're the moral heart and soul, but we are heart and soul of a group of kids and community members as well. We have a large following. If you go around the community, I sometimes go in Chipotle, not to toot my own horn, and they say, "Hey, were you a Shenanigan?" And I say, "Yeah." You know, we have that kind of reach, and we kind of made a name for ourselves. And I think it would be a shame if we were to get rid of something like this that, again, reaches out to the community and shows the community what we do here in these walls. And, you know, I urge you guys next year, no matter what happens, when we started, a main reason that the group got going and had a lot of support was because the board members really enjoyed our shows and really liked it. And they always were in attendance, all of them, and even my last year, we saw many of them. And I noticed that this last show that I don't think I saw any of you there. And I think, I don't know how you can make these sorts of cuts if you don't know just exactly what's happening and what kind of show and what kind of people you're cutting and messing with their programs. So that's it. That's all I
15
have to
seconds.
say.
Thank you, Jake.
And thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else on this side? Seeing none, anybody on this side want to speak? Please step up, state your name and where you're from.
I noticed there's 2 visitors' comment sections on the agenda. Does it matter at what time we come forward?
No.
Anytime.
Okay, thank you. My name's Courtney Erb, and I live at 3430 McCormick in Brookfield. I'm both a resident of District 208, but also of District 96. And I came just to speak about the parking lot proposal. My daughter goes to Hollywood School, and I'm nervous. I'm sorry.
We won't bite.
You don't mind.
Okay. So my main concerns about the parking lot are both the environment for the children, but also the safety of the children. As far as the environment goes, most of the north-facing wall of our school is glass windows, and that's what now looks out over a green space. But, excuse me, with the parking lot constructed there, obviously the children won't be looking at a green space, but we'll be looking at a concrete parking lot and cars. And then my main concern probably really is the safety of the children. When I saw the proposed drawing, I saw that the exit was onto, it looked to me like it was onto Hollywood Road, possibly Rockefeller Road. And if you come to the school at drop-off or pickup time, you would see that most of the arrivals of students and departures are by foot. There's a lot of car traffic in front of the school, but there's a lot of pedestrians, the children and the families, and I'm just concerned about additional cars exiting and entering in our area. Even if they are to be redirected through the existing parking lots and back out onto Gulf Road, we have a lot of traffic on Washington that affects the school children. And so those are my main concerns. And sorry to be so nervous, but
No problem.
thank you for
very much.
listening.
Thank you.
Anybody else on this side want to speak? Please step up now. Please state your name and where you're from.
Hi, my name is Kristen Didio. I live at 3531 Hollywood in Brookfield. My husband Scott and I have 2 children who attend Hollywood School, and I'm also a member, a PTA board member there at Hollywood. I'm here this evening, obviously, because of the proposed parking lot directly north of Hollywood School. I'm obviously opposed to the parking lot. I know that you've heard from other residents already in previous meetings, and some have also met with you, Dr. Skinkis, and unfortunately I couldn't be at that meeting. So, first and foremost for me, it raises obvious safety and security concerns for the students and families at Hollywood School. Hollywood may be a small school, but it is expanding. Next year, Hollywood will be hosting the new District 96 preschool, and so that is going to increase our traffic as well. That will put 30 to 40 potentially new families coming to Hollywood School on a daily basis throughout the day. Along with the other concerns already brought up by the others in the past meetings, students and teachers also don't need the distraction of having to look out along that long corridor and looking at the parking lot on a daily basis, concerned at what might be going on out there, much less the aesthetics of what they're seeing out there. I also believe that any changes made should be beneficial to the RB students and to the community as well. Who benefits from putting more inexperienced drivers in a closer proximity to preschool and elementary school kids on a daily basis? No one benefits from that. I see firsthand on a daily basis, I live a block away from the school, I see firsthand as I walk my children to school that parents don't really necessarily even stop for the crossing guard all the time. They're busy, they're quickly dropping off their kids at the high school, they're on their phones, they're rushing, everyone's rushing in the morning. And I don't think it's going to be any better with student drivers in that close proximity with students. Who would benefit from taking away what little green space is there for the parking lot directly north of the school? Not Hollywood School. I don't believe the Hollywood residents would either. And I don't believe the RB students either, since you said in the past that this is more about special events parking and not really about student parking. Who benefits from moving the tennis courts to North Riverside? Not RB students, not the tennis teams, and definitely not the Hollywood community. It has been stated before by others, and I agree with this, that we want to work together to make these decisions so that it's really a win-win for everybody. I think we all want what's best for the school and what's best for the community, and I think if we work together, we can make that happen. It doesn't seem like a wise use of funds to me to redo the track and turf when there are millions in life safety that need really more immediate focus. Eventually, assuming that the funds aren't there, you may want to go back to the taxpayers to pass another referendum to do more upgrades to the school. And I think it would be in your best interest to use the funds that you currently have solely on life safety upgrades, so that when you do go back to the taxpayers for more money in another referendum, that you can at least show that the upgrades that you have made were in the best interest of RB and the community, instead of, in my opinion, spending money on another track and turf that were replaced less than 1 decade ago, and a parking lot that you've said yourself really isn't needed for student parking.
10 seconds.
When you're making these decisions regarding the parking lot, just remember that the #1 priority should be the safety of all children, and in my opinion, the proposed parking lot is telling us just the opposite.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak on this side? Step up, sir. Please state your name and address.
My name's Steve Petrus. I live at 8432 Parkview. My wife Mary and I lived there for about 39 years now. 2 of our kids have grown through there. And we've got a grandchild that I walk most of the time to school. I'm kind of in a good situation. I'm working out of the house for another year before I have to retire, which is good. But I get to see out of my window in a corner house the traffic around the island. And I'll tell you what, the Brookfield Police do a great job of trying to keep the kids out of our alley, racing through there and around the circle that's right in front of our house. The concern I have here is I watch so many times the kids are trying to cross the island, and the RV kids are just sailing around that island. that's a security issue, that's a safety issue. If you're gonna build a parking lot, all it's going to do is attract more opportunities for kids to wanna drive more. And so we're extremely concerned about the traffic. I also walk our grandchild to Washington and Hollywood, and I see the kids just flying by there. The only time that's really good is when a police officer is there, when a normal crossing guard is. Increasing traffic with high school kids who their testosterone is going, and they want to race down the street, not a good thing. I've had situations where I actually stepped on the street to see if they would stop. Not a chance, they'll sail through there. So extremely concerned about the fact that, you know, safety is an issue. And, you know, that's really the most important portion of it. The other thing is just green space. And our kids, when they went to Hollywood School, they used that area between high school and the tennis court to play with. It's a green area. It's part of the reason we bought the house. We live in that area. It's a beautiful area. It's quiet. A lot of opportunities for kids to enjoy that. And to take that away doesn't make any sense. I know a few folks walked around there over the Memorial Day weekend. There were kids playing there in that green grass. Where are they gonna go if they don't have that area? Parking lot's not worth that much. I mean, let's think about the community. Let's think about why, you know, we're paying the taxes we're paying. I mean, I pay a lot of taxes for my house. I don't have a problem paying to support the community. But when you're gonna start changing and changing in a way that I think is detrimental to community, not really a good thing, and I clearly don't support that.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else on this side? All right, closing. Okay. Please state your name and address.
My name is Rebecca Harrison. I live on the 3800 block of McCormick. I have seen you many, many times from my screen at home when I watch your meetings, and it's a pleasure to see you face to face. What I do want to say tonight is that I am opposed to the parking lot that is going to be implemented or plans for. What I would like to suggest is that we just stop before we move forward with this and look at other options that we could do to provide what is needed. Again, one of the reasons that I moved here was because of the schools and the school district and the area that we are in, and the more green space that we can provide, the better, versus taking it away. And safety is also a concern that I have. I have 2 children at Hauser, and I have 2 children at Hollywood. And I think that we can look at other alternatives of getting students to school with carpooling versus just putting up a new parking lot for them. I don't want to reiterate anything that anybody else has said, but I will ask if any of you have taken the time to visit between 3 and 3:30, between 8 and 8:30 drop off and pick up time, and just to see for yourself what a kind of chaotic mess it is even now. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like adding a parking lot full of teenage drivers. So I would encourage you to go before we move forward with any of these plans to see what it's really like. And the Brookfield Police have done a fabulous job when they are there to monitor. That's about it. Just please consider other alternatives before we move forward with a parking lot.
Thank you.
Again for your hours.
Thank you.
Anybody else on this side? Please step up and state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Bloodgood.
What's your name?
Cynthia Bloodgood,
Okay.
3414 Hollywood. So I live directly, I'm also here opposing the parking lot. We actually are new to the community, and one of the reasons I chose, you know, I was really happy to actually come into the community because of the green space, and I have a son at Hollywood now, and it is very utilized, and I'm not gonna, you know, reiterate everything because it's what I agree about the safety but the green space is just, it would be really detrimental to our community to take away the little space, the little green spaces that we have for our children. I have a daughter with special needs. She needs as much space, safety space, a safe space to play. And so I just want to make sure that my voice is heard also, that as a community, I would have never bought the house if it was in front of a parking lot. I could say that. I would have never bought that house if it was in front of a parking lot. So I just want to make sure to say that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on this side? All right, I'm going to close visitors' comments. At this point, we want to go for discussion and information items. Any other additional items we want to add for discussion at tonight's meeting?
I'd like to add graduation.
All right, anybody else?
Can we discuss the shenanigans, review that?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?